you brokers and realtors. This show is dedicated to you.
And we got some awesome strategies that you may not know about.
You saw the title, Roth Accounts for Realtors and Brokers. Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of the Directed IRA podcast, talking to you, you brokers and realtors. This show is dedicated to you. Yeah. We know you. We know your MO.
We love you.
And we love you.
And we got some awesome strategies that you may not know about.
Oh, I know they don't know about.
Yeah. And you guys, I want to say this, real estate agents, brokers, you guys are uniquely uniquely positioned to take huge opportunities, real estate deals that you see using Roth accounts and pay no tax.
Okay, you saw the title, Roth Accounts for Realtors and Brokers. Now, let's get a couple things off the table. We're going to dive right into this. If some of you are able to catch this on YouTube, I'm going to use the whiteboard a little bit, but we're going to make this simple and easy. Now, I just spoke to a group of 450 realtors yesterday in Orange County. And my daughter's a realtor. I've been teaching realtors for 20 years in my practice, continuing education for multiple boards of real estate across the country. I've got large brokerages, national brokerages that book me for lunch meetings all the time. Please hear me out on this. I know you. I know that you do not want to get into the weeds on this, and you just want to say, tell me who to call. Right? You're like, tell me how cool this is and who to call. Stop. You are the captain of your ship. You have got to know just enough to steer the ship in the right direction. Yes, I want you to use an accounting firm or a law firm or a financial advisor for pieces and parts of this. But I promise you, the more you're engaged in this, just enough to make some freaking decisions, you will make millions. There are ways to use a Roth account, like Matt said, where you're positioned in the real estate industry more than anyone else. Better than me, Matt. You guys, you have a unique opportunity as a real estate professional, and you have got to understand it. So please pay attention during this podcast. We're going to get to it. We're not going to waste time. I love to tell jokes and stories, but I'm going to let Matt tell some stories here. Before we even tell you how to build your Roth, how much you can put into it and organize it, I want Matt to just tell us a couple stories of a real estate developer or a realtor or broker using their Roth to make millions. Mm-hmm. Tax free. What's your favorite story? Nail it.
All right. Well, the first story I had was a client that was the impetus of me becoming an expert on self-directed retirement accounts, writing the #1 book on the subject, on how you can buy real estate, do notes, do private lending, invest in real estate funds, or all these things in the real estate space you can do with retirement accounts. I know you've probably been told, Matt, I just thought my IRA, Roth, traditional, I don't care what it is, could just buy stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. No! Your retirement account can buy real estate. My retirement account's done that. Mark's has done that. Our clients have done it. We have $1 billion in assets at our company, Directed IRA, where we handle these types of accounts, all right? So let me hit the one that was like, open my eyes. I had a real estate client that had a Roth IRA, okay? And he wanted to buy some land. Now, he only had $10,000 in his Roth IRA. He had a lot of money, but he only had a little Roth IRA to start with.
I can almost picture him. I remember him coming by our office, big kind of frumpy guy.
Yeah.
He was awesome.
He was a good dude.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, I want to buy this land that's up against the highway. It was agricultural property. And my client knew that this land right next to the highway was going to get a freeway exit. And the county and state had been planning on it. It was in development plans. It was going to happen in the next 5 years.
Okay, and on this note, this is not insider trading. I love this point of John Shikarchi at the Real Estate Tax Summit. He's like, if you're dealing with an SEC-regulated stock, if you have inside knowledge, you can't trade on it. But when it comes to real estate, if you're a realtor or a broker and you have inside knowledge on a development, on a freeway exit, on a highway sign, on a whatever, a new school, a Fortune 500's coming to town, and you know it, trade on that knowledge.
Yeah.
So this guy knew a freeway exit was coming.
Exploit it. Make money on it and do it in a Roth because it's tax-free. Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
so
my gosh.
he knew. So he just wanted to find the right tool. He knew the real estate deal. He could have done it personally, but he came to me. He's like, I want to do this in my Roth. How do we do it? So we did an option. He went to this landowner. There's just some farmer, and he said, hey, this property right now is worth $350. I don't want to buy it from you now, but I want the option to buy it at a purchase price of $450 in a 5-year window. I'm going to give you $10,000 now to lock it up.
Non-refundable.
Non-refundable.
And this farmer's like, Who are
He's
you?
like-
You're like manna from heaven.
Yeah, he's like, you wanna buy
$450,
it?
and you're going to give me 10 grand.
Yeah, and he's like, and if you don't buy it, I still get the 10 grand. Yep, you still get the 10 grand, and I can just get the same acreage down the way here for my agricultural stuff. What does he care? So he got the contract. Now his Roth account did it.
Did the contract.
Did the
We
contract.
formed an LLC. Now, some of the steps will come to recently. Yeah. But your IRA opens an LLC and writes the contract. And then your IRA transfers the money to the LLC. And then the LLC writes the check to the farmer. And you get the REPC, the real estate purchase contract or option contract.
Yeah, he just
signed.
did an option agreement in
Just
this
an
case.
option
But you could have done a real estate purchase contract and wholesale that. We got lots of strategies. Those are awesome. But this was just an option agreement. Now what happened? A few years pass. The exit goes in. This property goes from being agricultural property to highway commercial. And now it's worth $1.5 million. Now, my client knew that was going to happen. He's a real estate person, okay? He had this insider knowledge. Now, he didn't want to develop this one out. He does that sometimes. But he's like, I just sold it to another developer for over $1 million profit. Now, he sees these deals. He's like you, the real estate professional that sees undervalued properties, that sees opportunity in the real estate market. And you probably do some of those deals and invest in some of those personally. But why does the Roth matter? Why did this client do it in the Roth? And I remember this distinctly. He was so excited about this because that $1 million went into his Roth tax-free. But at the same time he was excited about it, he was totally pissed off. And you know why he was totally pissed off? Is why we're trying to get this through to you guys right now. He's like, I have a big law firm. I have a big accounting firm. I have a financial advisor. These guys see my tax returns. They talk to me every day. They know I make money in real estate. They know this is what I know. And those bozos told me to buy stocks, bonds, and mutual funds with my IRA and 401k. Why would I do that? Why would I not invest in what I know? So he comes full circle on this and is like excited about it, but also pissed off because he could have been doing this 10, 20 years ago.
Yep. And
tax-free.
Yep. And some of you are like, now hold on, slow down. And I want to go back and baby step this a little bit. Remember, he had a contract to buy the property for $450. Farmer now is kicking himself because the freeway exits in and the farmer knows he's been had, but it's a contract. So this realtor, depending on the state, depending on the rules, sometimes you can do a double close. Sometimes you have to go through a purchase contract procedure. All of you guys know these escrow rules sometimes better than us because they're particular to different states. But essentially, he did a double close where he bought.
He just sold the option.
Yeah.
He didn't do a double close.
Okay.
He just sold the option.
Okay, sold the option.
He just got an option fee, and the other person executed it.
And that's what I was going to say. There's different ways to do this. You could do a double close. You might just sell the option contract. Sometimes you want to disguise this a little bit and be careful. We get all that. Don't worry. Don't get caught in the weeds on this point. The point is there was a closing in which $1 million, whether through an option fee or a double close, whatever it was, goes into his Roth account. Now that Roth account is going to continue to grow. So he can turn around the next day and do another deal, but now he's got $1 million to play with. So now he can go tie up other property. He can buy rental property. He can start doing some rehabs and fix and flips, all sorts of rules. And now we've got another podcast called the Directed IRA. Not another podcast. We got the other episodes here at the beginning of our podcast that talk you through the rules so that you know what they are. Because once you know the rules to the game, you're like, oh, this is cool. Because remember what I said at the beginning. You can't rely on your accountant or your financial advisor to know all these rules. You want to play in this game, you got to know, how do I get a first down? What's the rule on third down and four downs and punts? And what happens if we're tied? And this weird rule where they're going to flip a coin and who scores first. You got to know the rules so that you can exploit them.
Exactly.
But
I love that analogy. And man, football season is just right here. It
is. So, folks, moral of the story. Pay attention now as we talk about how to get a little money into a Roth. And then we want you to learn the basics, just the basics. And then number 3, go out and start doing deals with your Roth. We had John Shikarchi, who was well stated, I mean, as open as a book could be, came to our Real Estate Tax Summit on us 3 weeks ago and talked about his 7-figure Roth IRA. That he had been doing deals like this for 10 years. And he was like, guys, you can do this. And everybody was blown away.
Yeah, and everyone starts at 0. And that client I talked about with the option fee, he has an 8-figure Roth account right now, okay? And my biggest client has a $300 million plus Roth IRA. And he was a real estate guy. So the Roth account, let me just make sure everyone understands when we say Roth, what that means. Whether it's a Roth IRA or Roth 401k, you can invest that account into any asset. Now, most people just use Roth accounts for like Wall Street stuff. They buy stocks and mutual funds. But guys, Roth IRAs and Roth 401ks can buy real estate. It can do real estate deals, make the money, grow. You pay no tax when you're making it. And when you get to 59 and a half, you can pull it out totally tax-free. Okay, it is like the only way to make a ton of money and not pay tax legally. Legally.
Yeah. We're running some flights down to Colombia this weekend with our IRA-owned twin prop, but that's a whole other story. Okay, now, I want to go to the whiteboard, and I'm going to describe this for those listening just on iTunes or Stitcher. But if you're able to watch this on YouTube, the link is down in the description below, so you can flip over to the YouTube channel on this. Please give it a subscribe and a like. We appreciate that. Now, what I'm diagramming here is the trifecta. Now, I explained this to realtors yesterday in that conference in Orange County. They love this, a great way to organize their life. Down at the bottom is your revocable living trust. This is going to give you privacy on the real estate you own. As a realtor and a broker, a lot of times you want to keep it private, what real estate you own, even your own home. Privacy is a big deal. You're doing title searches all the time. You see people's names thrown around. You don't want that for yourself. So the revocable living trust is not about asset protection. It's about camouflage. So let's use that camouflage wisely. Let's throw a net over your SUV out in the desert. You know, that's what this RLT does. On the left side, you've got your ops, and this is where 9 out of 10 realtors are going to have an S corporation where we're saving on FICA. And then over on the right side, we're going to split into A and B. So I've got left side of my line is your operations, an S corp, where you're writing off cell phone, travel, dining, electronics, writing off all of the expenses we can think of here. Sorry, I've got
your lawyer fees,
all those sorts of goodies. And then over here, you're doing your fix and flips, you're getting your commissions, your 1099. Okay. On the right side, this is your asset side. We actually have 2 classes of assets. The A assets are your tax-free assets. Your B assets are your after-tax assets. And these are the ones that you're buying rental property with your own name. Your trust owns an LLC, and you're going to go buy rentals. Talk about it all day long. You get the pass-through depreciation. Maybe you're doing some cost segs, some bonus depreciation. We love it. Over here, you might use strategies like 1031s and opportunity zones. We get it. Yeah. But in this tax-free realm, you're going to start building buckets of Roth IRAs. This is where I was going with this, Matt. I will be the scrivener now. We kick butt at Pictionary, people. You do not want to touch us at Pictionary. I'm going to turn the pen
2018 world champs.
Yep, that's right. Yeah. I'm going to turn my pen to red, and I'm going to start filling in some of these buckets. And where you would tell, you got a brand new realtor coming in to your world, and you're saying, okay, you've been putting all the money back into your business. You're young. You don't want to be selling real estate forever. Yeah. You want to have the choice to sell real estate, but you don't want to be that old realtor at the table going, I got to work. I don't want to work. And I know some of you realtors are listening here are older, and you're like, man, I'm kind of stuck in this situation right now, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Give me some of these buckets. What would you tell them, and I'll write it.
All right. The first option I want to go over is the Roth IRA. It's easy. It's $6,000. You can put it in a year. If you're 50 or older, you can do $7,000. But I can get $6,000 in a year. Now, Matt, you might be saying, how am I going to do a real estate deal with $6,000? Well, we're talking about the option deal I just gave, the wholesale deal. You see these deals and opportunities. You can do them with just a Roth IRA. Now, there's other things to
Bridge
do here.
lending.
Yeah, those small amounts. Sometimes it's not enough to do that. But I like if you're kind of just want to do some wholesaling and options. We have lots of clients that do that. Real estate clients in particular that are out there in the business, that see the opportunities, that see the deals, can really take advantages. Because once I do a wholesale deal and I turn that 6 into 20, and then I turn the 20 into 50,
3 deals away, you're cranking.
Now it's like, I got a $100,000 little piggy bank here to play with.
Also, let's talk timing. Right now, we're recording the show November 1st-ish, and I think this will go live on Halloween. Here's trick or treat, folks. You're going to love this. We're only 8 weeks away from your 23 contribution, which is going up next year. Yeah. So you can do, if you're under age 50, you can do $6,000 now, and 8 weeks from now, just short 8 weeks from now, you can do
$6,500.
$6,500.
$6,500. Guys, all treats here, no tricks. Okay, so now I got $12,500 to work with
Yep.
that you could put in on a deal. But this is just option
Step
one, guy.
This is step one.
Because you're a real estate agent or professional, you're also a perfect candidate for a solo 401k.
Boom.
Which you can put $61,000 a year into in 2022 and $66,000. They just upped the amount it got announced last week. $66,000 a year in 2023. Now, Mark and I just did an episode on our sister podcast, the Main Street Business Podcast. Why do we call it the sister podcast? It could be like the brother podcast.
It could be. It could be the family podcast. Our family of podcasts.
Another podcast we have.
And the link below, Tristan, can you put the link below? And it's called The Power of the Solo 401k.
Yeah, and real estate agents are uniquely able to use the Solo K because it's basically a 401k plan for people who are self-employed with no employees. Ding, ding, ding. Real estate agents, brokers. This is a perfect strategy for you. But in the Solo K, you're like, guys, I'm making good money. I want more to play with here on the Roth account. Okay, we can do 60K, 61K. And if you got a spouse involved in your business, they can do 60K also.
Yep. Now, what I like about this solo 401k option is, again, we are just 8 weeks away from doubling down on that.
Ooh, good point.
So even for you single realtors out there, and I just had a couple realtors walk up to me yesterday at the conference going, Mark, I'm having a kick butt year. I'm making $300,000-$400,000 grand. What do I do? I said, go out and buy some real estate. We're going to look at some cost seg strategies maybe before year end. You got to buy some real estate in the next 8 weeks. I had a realtor come up and go, I'm making $800,000 grand this year. I have no write-offs. I go, how many rentals did you buy this year? None. What the hell are you doing with your money? And she's like, you're right. I got to deploy it. It's just sitting in her bank account. Yeah. And I said, go out and buy a couple Airbnbs before year end, do a wise strategic investment, and she's going to see off-market deals. She can do it. So anyway, I said, go buy some Airbnbs, and we're going to fund the hell out of your solo 401k. She's like, done. And so the solo 401k gives you that tax-free bucket where now you're wearing two hats. You put your black hat on, and you go out and you buy some real estate in your own name through your trust and LLC. Then you put your red hat on and you go out and buy the same real estate down the street, but with your 401k or Roth. So now you're playing in two worlds. One is completely tax-free and completely asset protected. No lawsuit can touch that 401k, which is just huge. So we're funding two buckets here, the Roth and the solo.
Yep. And remember, the solo can have a Roth account in it. So you can still have these tax-free dollars. A lot of people think of 401ks and traditional dollars and you pay tax on the way out. No. We can do Roth dollars in the solo 401k. We, of course, set them up in our law firm, KQS Lawyers, and handle them at Directed IRA from an account and your statement status. So now, when we're saying the Roth account, remember, this is just a tool in your toolkit. You might be still buying rentals and building long-term wealth there and on this B side here in your asset side. But the Roth account is a really important tool to have in your toolbox for particular deals. Now, I gave the example there of the Roth account doing just the option deal that was, the $1 million return. And I've had clients do better than that, by the way. That was just a simple one. But let me just give an example, even me. This is Matt, not in the business like you every day, finding real estate deals. This was literally me. I had a real estate broker client I was setting up entities for. He was buying properties in Indianapolis. Great guy. And he'd been successful. And I'm like, wait, you're buying these for you? I'm setting up your LLCs in Indiana. I'm like, what are you buying? And he tells me, he's like, I love that market. And I'm like, get me one. I want to buy it in my 401k, which I did with my LLC. My 401k owns an LLC. And so I went out and bought that in 2017. This is my first deal that I did in my retirement account, which I'm under contract to close in a week right now. I bought it for $85,000. I put $40,000 down, and I 42.5, and I borrowed the other 42.5 from a bank where you can get what's called non-recourse loans. There's banks that will lend to retirement accounts buying property. You got to learn the rules on that. I'm selling this property now for $180,000. It's under contract and closing next week. That's been a 5-year hold. I have a 300% return on my $40,000 I invested in that. You think I can get that in the stock market? Hell no. This is dumb Matt real estate. I love real estate, but I'm just saying I'm not in the business of it every day. And I just was paying attention to a client doing something that is in real estate who bought way more properties than I did doing this, and I just copied one. So there's huge opportunity there, even with just a rental property. We just saw undervalued stuff, good deal, good cash flow. We've had some appreciation. So, and by the way, that 300% return does not include the cash flow I've had on that property.
I love it.
So So that's a kind of maybe a more base hit example that I just got in at $40,000.
Okay. Now, another twist. One might even say next level. Now, we titled this show Roth Accounts for Realtors. This may not be your Roth account. Okay. Let me give you an example. I had this, she was a Keller Williams broker agent up in Salt Lake City. This is almost 10, 12 years ago. She calls me up and she goes, "Hey, Mark, will you come teach a class to my clients? I love when you teach the trifecta, rental property, real estate professional, and can you teach them how to buy real estate with their IRAs and 401ks? I'm like, sure. Matt and I have been doing this for 15 plus years. I'm like, sure. She goes, we're going to do a 3-part series. And I go, well, how much are you going to pay me? She goes, well, this is back when I was working out of a van down by the river. She said, she goes, I'll give you $500. Just come for an hour and teach my class.
Mark's fees gone up.
Yeah, my fees have gone up. This is 12 years ago.
You're better, though. You're worth it.
Oh, yeah, I'm way better. So she goes, I'm like, okay. So I show up. The room's full, probably 30, 40 people. I teach my little dog and pony show. I'm teaching all the people in the room just what we're talking about now. Different numbers, same concepts. And some new rules and strategies that have evolved. They're always changing, so you want to stay up on it. But I give my spiel. She gets up right after me and starts handing out flyers of all the property deals in town. And people are like, sign me up, sign me up. I'm making an offer, just like Matt said. And what people were doing was saying, hey, you've got 40 grand, you got 20 grand, let's form an LLC together. And she even has some people that have said, hey, I'll use her name as Susan. She goes, Susan, can we do a deal with you too? Yeah. And she was forming LLCs and bringing in Roth IRA money to do real estate deals, of which she was just the bird dog. She just found the property and she was taking a 20% cut on these LLCs just to help put them together. Now, these were not investors, they were partners, and they were all voting democratically and doing them properly. And she goes, and she was swamped. Next time I show up 2 weeks later for my second session, go in, do my spiel. This time I get there, 50 people in the room, standing room only. I still remember it visually. I could drive to the place today. It was right over on Fort Union Drive, 7200 and over there by Hires Root Beer, you know where that's at. Yeah.
I love that
okay,
spot.
so I was there at one of those commercial buildings. I walked in, standing room only, and I just do my spiel. An hour, I get my $500 check. I was the one getting ripped off here. And I get my $500 check. She's handing out flyers. She runs out of flyers. People are like trying to buy properties. All of her listings gone that night. She calls me up a day later. She's like, yeah, Mark, you can't come again. I'm like, well, I thought you did well. You didn't like my jokes? What's up? What happened? She goes, Mark, I am so busy servicing clients that have retirement accounts. I can't even do another workshop. I can't keep up. She caught the vision that you do not need to be selling single-family homes or storage units or whatever commercial listings. Once this world of self-directing opens up to you, it's not only your own account we want you to take advantage of. Start talking about this. Call Matt or I. We'll be on a podcast of yours. Yeah. We'll be on a webinar with 30 of your clients, and we'll teach them how to do this. Yeah. We would love to get those accounts open to help them. Yeah. We would love to help you sell more real estate. People, this just isn't about your Roth. It's about everyone you know's Roth IRA, and you can sell them freaking real estate.
Yeah. And any retirement account for that matter, if you want to have edge in the real estate world, you need to know the rules about self-directing retirement account. There is $35 trillion in retirement accounts in the U.S. that can buy real estate. People have just been lazy. No one's told them. They're just like buying stocks, bonds, and mutual funds because that's what Wall Street's told them. But if you can get out there and get the message out there, no, guys, you can buy real estate. You can buy this duplex down the street. You can invest with 10 other people in a little LLC to buy that apartment building over there. You can buy that single-family rental in the next town over. Like, these are assets people can buy with their IRA, and as a real estate professional, you can have major edge by just learning these rules and getting it out to your people.
Okay. And so I'm going to say this, and I'm not kidding. We would love to make this a win-win. We know this crap. You know real estate. We would love to be on your stage and help you out. If you're holding a little workshop for your clients, or you're just doing your monthly training for the agents in your office, we've done this Zoom training for 120 agents on their monthly meeting. I've got one I'm doing with a national brokerage next month.
I'm doing a webinar this afternoon with someone on it.
Yeah, there you go. You give us a call, at least 20 to 25 people. It's worth our time. We'll get in and teach the S Corp. We'll teach the LLC. We'll teach rentals. We'll teach self-directing. Give us half hour to an hour. Sometimes it can qualify as continuing education, depending on the state you're in. But get us on the platform with you, and we're going to make you look better. You're going to look sharper. You're going to look smarter. You're going to have an edge no one else has got. And if you're bringing us to the table, even your broker's going to be like, holy hell, good find. So just reach out to us. You can talk to Matt's assistant, Michelle, or my assistant, Deb, and say, hey, I'd like to have these guys on my podcast or on my webinar or my monthly training or whatever. And if we can jump on a Zoom call, we'll do it. It's simple. It's super easy, and it'll make you money.
All right. Now, we got a ton of resources on this. Okay. We're just scratching the surface. We wanted to give you the concept. So I actually have a book, Self-Directed IRA Handbook, talks about how you can buy alternative assets. Real estate's the #1 most common. We actually have a quick start guide on buying real estate with a retirement account. Go to directedira.com/real estate. If you just get to directedira.com, you're going to see all the stuff. Just follow the real estate stuff. We got tons of resources.
There's a live chat there. You can just say, hey, I'm a realtor or broker. Do you have any resources? The freaking live chat will hook you up.
Yeah, and then if you're like, I was intrigued by that solo K and throwing a bunch of money in this year, we got the special in the law firm, kkoslawyers.com, doing solo Ks right now, so you can make 2022 contributions, but you got to get it set up in 2022.
Yes, and on that note, down below there'll be a link to the special, $100 off, and you can meet with a real lawyer, ask some questions, get it set up. You don't even have to fund it until next year, but if you don't get it set up by December 1st, you're SOL, and I'm not talking statute of limitations. So let's get this finished. So it's down below, and people, if you've enjoyed this and you're like, okay, this wasn't too bad of a podcast, go back to the very beginning of this podcast. The first 10 episodes are easy on the ears, and they really help you go through the basics of this, and then book us to teach a training in your office or with your clients. You're going to freaking love it.
All right, we'll be back next week with another amazing episode of the Directed IRA podcast. Until then, stay calm, self-direct on.